guys. They call themselves the Hawaiian Style Band. We recorded this song goes like this.
Celebration on the palace ground. People need to know what's going down. There's a proclamation from the powers that lead. Our island nation has got to be free. Oh, 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 living in a sovereign land. Island people come together as one for future generations under the sun, singing songs of freedom, singing songs of love. Living in a sovereign land. Our children deserve to know what went down 100 years ago. You can be the man, you can take the land, but you can't take the truth away. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land. Our children deserve to know what went down 100 years ago. You can be the man, you can take the land, but you can't take the truth away. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land.
Follow me, let's see sugar time.
Living in a sovereign land.
Aloha kakahi aka kako e nā hoa o ke ia pai aina o ko Hawaii pai aina. Aloha e kauai o ka eo kulani ke ali'i. Aloha e o ahu o kuali'i ke ali'i. Aloha e mauinu a kama o ke kaulike ke ali'i. Aloha e ka moku o ke ave i ke kahi ali'i o ka moku ke ali'i. Aloha e moloka inui a hina o ka pule o ke ali'i. Aloha kākou, welcome to episode 29, Aloha Aina Oiaio, where you get 7 days of illegal occupation, war crimes, humanitarian violations in 1 hour in the Hawaiian Kingdom. Welcome to the Darkside of Hawaiian politics, Hawaiian Kingdom news. Now, to the national crisis with the weather.
Aloha kako. Welcome to another episode of Darkside of Hawaiian Politics, Hawaiian Kingdom News, May 30th, 2020. For your Moko Keawe weather report this week, we got your north weather for today. Your north is 75 high, low 65. Your east 74, low 65. Your south 76, low 65. And your west at the hot spot 84, and your lows is 79. Your surf report today for Moko Keawe, with your north pulling in a small 2 to 3, your east 1 to 2, your south another steady 1 to none, and your west is 2 to 3. There you have it for your Moko Keawe weather surf report, Darkside of Hawaiian politics. Now for your Mana Olelo DJ Derbs.
Nā puke vehe vehe o lelo Hawaii. When you search the word nā awau, Yeah? O kokako mana o lelo no ke ia pule nei oia o na'awau. Learned, enlightened, intelligent, wise, learning, knowledge, wisdom, science, daylight, mind. Imi na'awau. Na'awau ike mua, foresight. Ho'omana na'awau, science. When you search into Tutu Papa Kilo database, you'll get na'awau. You get over 3,234 hits. And the one I chose, January 1st, 1862, Kanu Pepa Ku'oko'a. He mea mana ka na'awau. He mea ikaika. He mea nui. Hohonu. Laula. Kea. A ole pau. I ka ana ia. A ole o nā palena. A ohe mua. A ohe hope. He mea o lea. Paakiki. He mea kōkua. Ke mālama pono ia. Ke kūnei ka manao. E ho'i ke iaia iho. Ma ke ia mau mokupuni. Mai Hawaii ni iho. Me he hau ma ke neki la. Ke huki nei I ko lalo e pi'i I luna. Ke ho'o haa nei I ko luna po'e kie I lalo. The people from above will be pulled down from the people below. In this article, na'awau also means when there's injustice, it's time for justice. When injustice continues, it's time for na'awau. Oia ka mana o lelo for this week, na'awau, enlightenment.
DJ Derbs, ikamaka na'awau, na'awau, kako. Thank you for the mana o lelo for get us started this week. We had so much to go through, DJ Derbs and KP. But without further ado, let's get into the week's Smash or Pass. First up, DJ Derbs, for this week is May 20th, 2020. We got
Aina, Aloha. Does anybody remember the Hui Aloha Aina that created the Ku'e petitions? Our family members are elected representatives from every district on all of the islands to represent the people. So when I see this organization, the Aina Aloha, why do they believe they need to change the words? To flip the words around? When the Hui Aloha Aina already developed a constitution, already developed a structural plan for the Aina, why do we have Hawaiians creating something new that ignores our past? Because I don't see the Hui Aloha Aina photo in there. I never gave them permission to use the words indifferently. But what I see when I go through the entire document, mahalo, but you're ignoring my tutu man, tutu uncles, tutu aunties, all of those who worked so hard to create the largest petition in the history of the Hawaiian Kingdom, na palapala ku'e. So with that, I gotta give them a Hulk smash for not posting the photos of the original Hui Aloha Aina from the Ku'e petitions on their website. So I gotta smash their website.
KP, Aina Aloha Economic Futures.
If you look at the word Aina Aloha, what they're trying to attempt to do is erase our past, is to erase the Ku'e petition. These people are the same people who actually continue to run to the trough and get American milk. They would do anything to sell out the Hawaiian Kingdom. So we need to always understand the root of Aloha Aina. We cannot play with words and redefine what is Aina Aloha. You know, we have our kupuna had actually successfully twice
Ayo.
ended the annexation. And yet you see these people who want to actually change or redefine the words for their own selfish interests. And these guys are just sellouts. They sellouts because at the end of the day, what they're looking at is to make money off of our kupuna. And this is the reason why I would always smash you guys. Because you compromise. You have a weakness. And you guys' weakness is the American milk.
KP, DJ Derbs, Aina Aloha. Yes, it is a developing thing. Yes, it's a process that is not fulfilled. But let's look at it for a deeper context. The 1 point X amount billion is what's making all nonprofits, all government officials, and all of these people who want to come up with a stimulus or economic features package are salivating over. And that's what it is, right? So we can't blame our government agents who work within the governments, right?
Yes.
And those other nonprofits that represent these government agencies. We kind of allow them, kako, to give you the information that you need, because they're not going to give you the hard life issues that are hitting our families in poverty. They will continue to show basically the things that we already know through the Hui Aloha Aina documents, what needs to be done. The injustice of the Hui Aloha Aina is what our parents sign on to sell them short and Aina Aloha them, because that is the fad right now, is unacceptable, because we have yet to see injustice, and through injustice we can seek the truth, we can seek remedy, and we can seek the just.
Right. Because, we cannot actually redefine what is, Aloha Aina. And we cannot actually, look away into history what our kupuna did when they actually went out there to get signatures to stop, annexation. We can never, ever,
Place that in the back. It's
Right.
always in the front.
Right. So we cannot kind of like replace or look away on our kupuna's legacy and all their hard work.
Yeah. There you guys have it. It's a continuing smash because of this is not a tear down of a Hawaiian upon Hawaiian.
Right.
This is us recognizing who works for the government and who nonprofits benefit from these economic features. And we speak for those who continue to not be heard and will be oversighted because of the names that are listed in this economic features are astronomical funders. A lot of them are government officials, government affiliates, and that's why it's a smash. Next up on the chopping block, DJ Derbs, we've got...
Continuing the 127 years of injustice, desecrating our Hawaiian national mountain, Mauna Kea, where the first Hawaiian was created between Earth Mother, Papahanaumoku, and Sky Father Wakea. There's this article that comes out of the Honolulu Advertiser's front page that says, "Support grows for TMT on Hawaii Island." Statewide poll says, I don't know how much of a puni, makapo, na'aupo, this article is trying to say for us that support grows. As far as I'm concerned, nearly 250,000 people signed the petition to stop TMT. 38 kupuna got arrested to stop TMT from Hawaii Island. Thousands, 10,000, 13,000 gathered on Mauna Kea to stop TMT. 20,000 marched in Waikiki to stop TMT. And then this article comes out with a poll that only used, from my understanding, 500 people. So these are the mechanisms that continue the colonization of our minds, that continue the colonization of the masses of the people, and it's the star advertiser, Kako. That's why you need to tune into Hawaiian Kingdom News. So Honolulu star advertiser, Pacific commercial advertiser from your beginnings, I gotta smash you from the kingdom time till now for continuing to spread lies, colonization, indoctrination, and fraud amongst the masses.
KP.
Well, if you look at the star advertiser, okay, its foundation
There
was
it
from
is.
a bunch
There it
of
is.
insurgents.
Yes. Thank you.
These are the same people who actually push for the overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom. And if you look at this article right here, this article is nothing but lies. Okay, nothing but lies. Why should we believe the Star Advertiser when they actually was created and they are part of the insurgents of the January 16, 1893? So we cannot believe these guys, okay? Because they have their own agenda, and they're pushing an agenda with false recognition, saying that, oh, you know, a lot of people support TMT. You know, it's the opposite. It's only a small fraction who supports TMT, and the only reason why they support TMT is because at the end of the day, they're gonna get money. That's all, okay? We, as Kanaka, we know what's best. It's the sacred mountain. We're going to stop any development up on the Mauna.
Hey, yo.
So I give this so-called advertiser newspaper a big smash.
KP smashing them up for this TMT, a stunning 500 people poll, right, had tallied to come up with this newfound support. Kako, the crown lands shall be held in perpetuity for the subjects of the kingdom of Hawaii and Ko Hawaii Pai Aina. We cannot allow, here he goes, the star colonizer, because that's what it is, right? We got the star colonizer, advertiser that continues to falsely mislead the consensus of the rest of the world. Because if you guys ever come down to Mauna Awakea or down to the march, you see how we just smash them down with those pule. We smash them down with those marches. It's really quite an amazing thing. So if they think that a bunch of crisis actors can come aboard and say that there's some newfound support, you know, I got to look at it as the Aina Aloha previously what we discussed. There are TMT supporters upon that list, yes? And so maybe that newfound support finally had courage when they try to somehow use the 500 names on that Aina Aloha. It's my assumption, it's my look at it, but 500 signatures, and then now all of a sudden they have 500 full now found supporters. That's too close of a number, Kako. And come up to the Mauna, come and walk on the walks, and you will see the overwhelming support of the protection of our sacred sites and our national historical monuments, Mauna Awakea. Next up on the chopping block, DJ Derbs, we got some American news.
The American news everybody knows. I am George Floyd. The black man who was murdered in Minneapolis with the police officer's knee on his throat, pleading for the officer to release his knee, saying, "I can't breathe." And 3 other officers on this black man is not something new, Kako. 127 years of injustice in Hawaii, on Hawaiians, and 400 years of slavery, injustice continues across America, Kako. When you look at what's happening, I just gotta tell my family members to stop criticizing what's happening across the nation when they have been subjects and victims of racism, discrimination, murder that continues. Kapu Aloha has ran its course after 400 years. So right now, I just gotta say, I am George Floyd. We've suffered injustice for 127 years. Let's not wait 400 years. Let's solve the Hawaiian Kingdom injustice now and today. So I gotta smash on the United States of America not taking a harsher role on indicting these police officers quicker and waiting for these riots to take fire across the nation. So I just gotta smash on their response.
Okay.
KP.
All right. So if we look at the foundation of the United States, when they first actually stumbled upon America, and when they brought their people on to on the soil, their foundation is on violence and discrimination. And if you look at the whole history on the United States, the Civil War is based on what? Discrimination, slavery. And yet, during that time, and if you look at the Hawaiian Kingdom, it was a free country. 1839, Declarations of Rights, everybody were equal. It's the reason why when ships were still coming to the Hawaiian Kingdom, they still had slavery. So when the ships came into port, those slaves actually jumped ship, came upon the shore of the Hawaiian Kingdom. And as the slave owners was attempting to take them back on the ships, they couldn't, because the Hawaiian Kingdom was advanced. You know, we didn't have any slavery, and they were accepted as people. You know, clear people. You know, there wasn't any slaves.
Yes.
Okay, so if you look at the situation now in the United States, you know, with the murder, you know, the police officers, 4 police officers murdering an innocent black person. Discrimination still exists in the United States.
It's alive and well.
Right? Yes, it is alive and well. And, you know, the only thing I say is, with, you know, all of these things happening, we need to practice aloha, about love.
Yep.
In Hawaii, when you meet violence, we don't return with violence. We return with aloha. We return with love. That's the only difference between the American concept versus the Hawaiian Kingdom concept and our people. We will never, ever actually use any violence upon anyone. As you look at our long history of the illegal occupation for 127 years, we never have any violence. We never, you know, killed anybody. It's all this violence was actually placed upon us by the Americans. So I give a smash to the United States of America for the continued, you know, discrimination and violence upon their own people. So, you know, we need to actually have level heads and just, you know, push for aloha, about, you know, love. But for the United States, I give you a smash.
KP. So, Colin Elderts, one of our Kanaka Maoli, was shot during a international meeting in Waikiki years ago, and this DD officer was off-duty, loaded gun, drunk, intoxicated, walking down Waikiki looking for somebody to shoot. He shoots him, claims self-defense, beats his case. And prior to Elderts, Joseph Kahawai, the military people lynched him, right, KP?
Yes.
They lynched him, and then later on he gets pardoned. from a higher authority from the United States to release the killers of Kahawai after finding out that they were the killers of these innocent people. And see, these things are very old. These are not new. These kind of killings, right? But now that we have phones, now it's recorded.
Right.
It's nothing new. It's just being promoted live now.
Yes.
And people are in shock because now it's live through a phone. But I have to look at Ken Dog Lawson. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful insight about American apple pie and how you guys got to go check out his law campaign, his little law classes that he has. Yesterday he had one, and he describes as the Stamp Act riots in 1765, then the Boston Tea Parties, right, at 1773.
Boston Massacre.
Boston
The
Massacre.
foundation of America was created upon violence of killing 22 million Native Americans. You guys need to remember that.
So it's as much as apple pie as American apple pie can get, as per se Ken Lawson said.
Right.
It's as much as apple pie as riots is due to the colonization and the methods they continue to use. Right, DJ Derbs? So just that being said, go ahead. Check out our uncle, Ken Lawson, Law Dog, and go check out his law classes that he holds every other day or so, man. Follow him. You know, we always may not agree upon certain issues that we arise from, but let's not get it twisted, Kako. His intentions is pure aloha. His lessons is pure free. You can't get no love from that. You name to me any Native Hawaiian out there breaking it down into American pie and giving out these descriptions of historical context. Got to give love out to my uncle Ken Lawson, man. Go ahead, go check out his live feed and his news reports and get educated. Go get connected, man. He'll help you guys see better. We don't promote riot, but riots are just like apple pie, as apple pie is made for the American people. So there you guys have it. That's a smash or pass for the heinous acts that are happening out through America for Floyd and his family. Our aloha goes out, and also to Kahawai and elders who continue to live this injustice without justice being confirmed. And now,
I just want to add
Yes,
one
yes.
thing. Okay, even with the Kahawai, the whole case when they was found guilty.
yes,
What was their sentence? 1 hour drinking tea with the governor,
yes,
right?
yes, and get pardoned.
Yeah, get pardoned. At the end of the day, you drink tea with the so-called governor, and you pardon.
Thank you, KP, for the historical context, because this is not a new thing.
No,
it's
it's
just
not.
now we have cameras. So remember, Kako, when you're out there, record. Safety first is for your safety. Until the state can show compliance and have officers wear body cams, I cannot say you're safe, and I wouldn't guarantee your safety, because I don't know what mind state are these officers in
Right.
when they go ahead and potentially kill someone. So smash, and it's going to be a continuing smash until justice can prevail. And now we're up to our South Pacific Kingdom news, COVID update, and Pacifica.
All right. For this morning, I'm going to give you an update on the C-19, COVID-19 in the South Pacific. Okay, so first off, we're looking at Aotearoa, New Zealand. They have a total count of 1,158 cases. So it's stabilizing in Aotearoa. As we look to American Samoa, they continue to have 0 cases throughout this epidemic. The Samoans took strict measures, and now they continue to have 0 cases. As you look at the Cook Islands, they also have 0 cases, and if you look at Guam, for the past almost 4 weeks, they are stabilizing at 151 cases. And as you look at the situation in Guam, is because they have military installation, American military installation on that island. As we look to Fiji, for the past 7 weeks, their count is at only 18 cases. Okay, and as we look home into the Hawaiian Kingdom, our update count is 649 cases. As we move along to the Kingdom of Tonga, they have 0 cases. So throughout this epidemic, they continue to have 0 cases because of strict rules that they have. They have no one actually going into Tonga as well as leaving. As we look at Kiribati, they also have 0 cases. The Marshall Islands, 0 cases. You look at Micronesia, 0 cases. Nauru, 0 cases. You look at New Caledonia, for almost 8 weeks now, they're stabilized at just 18 cases. As we move on to Niue, they have 0 cases. If you look at Northern Mariana Islands, for almost 6 weeks now, they only have 14 cases. As we look at Palau, they have 0 cases. Papua New Guinea, they have, for the past 6 weeks, only 8 cases. Solomon Islands, 0 cases. Samoa, 0 cases. Tahiti, stabilizing for almost 5 weeks now at just 60 cases.
Yes.
As we look at Tokelau, they have 0 cases. Tuvalu, 0 cases. And finally, Vanuatu, 0 cases. Yes. So as you look at the majority of our brothers and sisters in the South Pacific, due to strict regulation and rules in the South Pacific, the number is really low. The only high numbers, like double digits, or triple digits, is in the Hawaiian Kingdom and also in Aotearoa. So this is it's a really good news. Really good news.
Right?
Yeah. So it's really good news, and hopefully they're going to maintain the strict rules in the South Pacific, and hopefully we can learn from the South Pacific.
But KP, one small thing.
Yes.
Didn't I hear right? DJ Derbs, I think we heard. I think in the beginning of the second month of COVID, the state gave an announcement of a reoccurrence, right? That it may occur sometime next year, June, right? Or somewhat. I wasn't too sure of the date, but they said it was going to make a lapse.
Right.
Around.
What they're actually claiming is that the reoccurrence is going to happen in September.
I see. Yes.
In September.
Yes. Thanks for clearing that up, because people got to remember these practices that we're doing now is useful, because just like the code, this will return. Maybe in different forms because of the manipulation.
Yes.
But it's like the common code where it will reoccur steadily now. Okay.
Yeah. So in like some medical journals, they're estimating that this some form of the COVID-19 is going to last between 20 to 30 years.
Jeez, thank you, KP.
Yeah.
I mean, those are some things that are very important to remember. Even though we haven't seen the full effect, I gotta give everybody a great round of applause, and not even that, wonderful aloha for the vigilance of our communities, sending back the tourists who've been violating these proclamations, right?
Right.
So because of our communities taking that step forward to going out there and being viral with all of these people down in Waikiki and all over, you guys have been part of the key necessity, because the cops can't do it.
No, you can't.
So the curve that you see, I believe, are coming from our communities,
right,
and from our local family members who continue to educate, communicate, and get these malahinis off when they're coming over here for play.
Yes.
So the curve is dropping, and thank you, KP.
Yeah. So if you look at the like the curve actually is coming down, it's because of the community efforts.
Yes.
As you look at throughout the Hawaiian Islands, you have the community taking the initiative to actually shutting down the
Yes.
beaches, shutting down the community areas where you had a lot of tourist activities. So you need to, look at the positive effects of community support.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mahalo to those community members. I know it was rough, but because of you guys, we're moving forward and we see the curve as we are upon it.
Yes.
So wait, we're going up to the South Pacific.
Yeah, so right now we're going to go to the South Pacific News, courtesy of Radio New Zealand. So the first topic is no new cases of COVID-19 in New Zealand. Still one active case. Okay, so there have been no new cases of COVID-19 reported in New Zealand for the 8th straight day, with just one active case still remaining in New Zealand. So that's really really good news. Okay, after a week of no new cases, the number of active cases dropped to only one yesterday.
one, right.
Yes. So the total number of confirmed cases remains at 1,154. The combined total of confirmed and probable cases is 1,504. Nobody in the hospital with the coronavirus, and there has been no further details. There were 3,020 tests processed yesterday, bringing the total number of tests completed to the date of 278,872. So that's really really good news for New Zealand. Okay, so in other news, we're going to go to also courtesy of Radio New Zealand in Fiji. Fiji-based doctors dropped cash fees, switches to barter.
Hey, yo.
Anari-based private GP Ashank Isoa Sadhu says he dropped the cash payment at his Namaka practice in response to the news of nearly 800 jobs losses at Fiji Airways. So it's really good is that now you can go to the doctors in Fiji, and instead of giving monies, you can barter services in exchange for the doctor's services. So
doctor.
that's really really good. Yeah, and then finally. We have also from Radio New Zealand in New Caledonia Island flight ban extended until Tuesday. New Caledonia's main domestic airline continues to be banned from flying to Marae until at least the end of Tuesday. So so in this situation, when they have stabilized COVID-19. Now they can open up, air travel in New Caledonia. So that's really good. And with that, this is the South Pacific News this Saturday.
KP, mahalo for the COVID-19 update for South Pacific News for your May 20th, 2020, and the educational campaign with what's going on in South Pacific. Thank you once again, KP. Always important news to not forget and lose track of our family members during this pandemic, and also seeing their resilience. Seeing their resilience, how doctors out in our South Pacific nations are using these bartering systems. They're being proactive.
And also, this is more traditional. Remember,
traditional.
In days of old, never have money.
Yes.
So they did the bartering system.
They went back to fundamentals.
Right.
Fundamentals.
Yes.
So once again, this is for HMSA, Kaiser, Permanente, all you card holders out there. These are not imaginations. These are happening in international communities, in our families in the South Pacific. So we should find pressures and mechanisms to have the legislations look into these, because maybe our kids don't have the best medical care, or our parents are laid off that the medical care cannot be getting their full compensation.
Right.
But that shouldn't be the reason why we can't get medical.
Right.
That shouldn't be the reason.
Well, if we wasn't occupied, we'd have the universal health care.
Simply said.
Yeah, so all your medical costs would be free in the kingdom.
Yes.
But under the under the occupation is different.
Yes, because a little manao about the Hawaiian Kingdom. When the travelers used to come, they had to give a $2 charge
Right.
off the ship. It was to go for any medical health or injury or death that could occur in the kingdom. That $2, correct me if I'm wrong, Kako, when they got back onto the boat, they received it back, right? That was the universal health care of insurance when people were to come from foreign places.
Right.
They had to give some kind of insurance policy funding.
Right,
But it was
exactly.
minimal and it was as needed. That is the mana'o I want to share. If you didn't use it, you retrieved it as you gone back home. But if you came here and you got hurt, the $2 would go instantly into the Kingdom Fund to do these medical necessities.
Right.
Because it's medical necessities.
Right.
It's for your human rights. So thank you, our South Pacific cousins, for stepping up and bringing this back to light, bringing back our culture, traditional remedies that we had forth. And thank you again, KP, for your South Pacific news. And now back to wrap it up for our Smash or Pass, our last 3 up for this week. DJ Derbs, we are about to expose.
Good question. Mahalo, Mahealani. What happened to the rainy day fund, the 1.5 billion? So Tribune and Herald headline, Inoue confident young brothers will get relief. I am also confident that young brothers will get their 25 million that they just requested. I think earlier on this week, they requested 25 million and boom, Inoue comes out front page. They're going to get the 25 million. What about the 127 years of injustice, the 40,000 Hawaiians on the wait list, which is a constitutional obligation from 1920? I say we need 1.5 billion to put the 40,000 Hawaiians on the American federal legislation on the land immediately. But yet, young brothers, Inoue, they can just erase their state of Hawaii constitutional obligation and ask for these fundings when the 40,000 that's waiting on the list and dying, getting murdered, George Floyd, no rehabilitation, is not getting the money. Let's see if DHHL and Director Aina ask for 1.5 billion so we can put the 40,000 on the list on the land and the 200,000 after that on our lands to start growing our food, to do the independent economy so that we don't have to import food. But that's what corruption is, Kako. We're seeing it in the Tribune Herald. Large companies like Young Brother, Senator Inoue, don't vote for her again. Smash, 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 corruption. Where's the 1.5 billion going, Kako?
The cornerstone, KP.
These are clear examples from day one of the U.S. occupation and the continued corruption that is actually currently, is happening right in front of us. $1.5 billion. Before they actually give young brothers 1.5, or if the fake state use the money for the real system or enforcement up the mauna, first you guys got to have and look at is old business. The old business is that you guys are occupying us, and that $1.5 billion should be spent on the Hawaiian nationals. First, you're not going to erase our history. That money should be used for us. And just imagine $1.5 billion. Imagine you put them in the bank. How much interest alone that would generate? These monies should be allocated for the Hawaiian subjects. So I give Inoue and the fake state and Young Brothers a smash.
Hi. DJ Derbs. Once again, the extortion is on. Record-breaking time In less than 48 hours, Senator Inouye gets the news to Ige, and they already have accepted the deal. So now once we go again back to the beginning of our Smash or Pass with the Aina Aloha, we wasn't attacking Hawaiians. But when the nipple of the 1.x billion had come out to the general vision, Aina Aloha throws in a little pa'akai. But of course, that doesn't have the flavor of a 48-hour notice of schedule changing and extortion of food and other supplies not going to be able to hit the outer islands. I gotta give Young Brothers Inc. a smash, because this is the corruption we're talking about. When people see this big old GMO nipple, these people start salivating. The nonprofits, the government agents, the crisis actors, all the multi-billion dollar corporations, and that's where I'm mad at. If you are a Kanaka, if you don't own your home, how can you stand for this? How can you stand and protect this kind of extortion and say it's essential to get extorted? This is a time of pandemic. This is a time of helping one another. And now when this nipple occurs of 1.8, see, once they banked them in the rainy fund, everybody thought they are applicants for it.
Right, exactly.
But if they would have gave it away to what it's supposed to be meant for, the purpose of the Admissions Act, and to those people who have suffered the injustice, we wouldn't be having these topics of stupidity coming up where a multi-billion-dollar company is asking for the bailout of $25 million. When you make billions, you don't see millions.
Yes.
And let alone, you guys want to go ahead and say that, yes, it's essential. We're not going to debate it. But at the same breath, it's not essential for us to get extorted from companies who have billions and billions of dollars. And correct me if I'm wrong, I know that they didn't get bailed out because it doesn't pertain to maritime. But you know what? I think if they could push it that quick with the Native Hawaiian money, I think Congress could have equally pushed it as fast on an upper level where that wouldn't affect such a small percentage of funding that was going to come to the nonprofit and the crisis actors and the government, who is actually now a news reporting station. So all of these monies seem to be trickling out or about to be trickling out, but you have to have a nonprofit, you have to be a government agent, and of course, you have to be tied into corruption to even sniff a penny of what's supposed to be going for the betterment of the Native Hawaiians.
Well, if you meet all these criteria, then you can actually run to the trough
Yes,
and get your milk.
because to set up a table now,
Yeah.
you can't set up a table when you colonize and the American people already got the table. No, you have a seat, you have a mini plate. You don't even have a big plate. You have a small plate,
Right.
which is called the poo-poo plate, right? So you get to have the poo-poo platter, but you don't really get to have the steak and filet mignon.
Oh, no.
Because the upper echelon, Governor Ige, the Ige Fernandez, Crook Caldwell, they have the steak. They have the resources to have that dinner. We are busy yelling over the katsu sauce and our little sashimi platter that we have. And that we can never be content. And that's why I urge you guys out there, Kako, when you see these electors, go ahead and give it in 48 hours. Let them know, because we can't afford to let any more non-natives continue to splurge as if these guys are just online shoppers.
Right.
They have like an addiction to shopping. These guys spend our money on unwise things, on their fancy pedicures, and all of their high echelon projects that they need to be done. And we can't have that. Next up, our last two, to expand more, we got DJ Derbs reporting from
Star Advertiser, Rail Project expecting 100 million shortfall, possibly 100 million more. So there you have it, Kako. A
another
rail
episode. Let's go.
from Kapolei straight to Ala Moana, more commercial fraud tourism. on a rail system that now is projected at $9.2 billion that we need to pay out of our tax money is going in for the 100 million pay cut out of that 1.5 billion, taking away from the 40,000 Hawaiians on the Hawaiian Homeland's wait list, which is the only constitutional obligation in the state of Hawaii Constitution, of a system that cannot even be used because you need 6-foot distancing, Kako. How much people can you actually put in this rail system
Without getting a $5,000 fine.
safely, 6 foot apart, for the next 30 years? Because that's the estimated time of this COVID-19. So we just gotta stop the 100 million to the rail. 100 million go straight to the Hawaiians waiting on the Hawaiian Homeland's wait list. And I gotta smash this star colonizer corruption news trying to get us to believe these are good ideas. We need food, Kako.
We need food.
Yes.
KP, Cornerstone, rail running out of railroad tracks.
Well, if you look at this whole thing, it's going on and on again. It's about corruption. It's about the fake state and also the U.S. occupation. And what they want to do is actually push this failed rail system onto the population to pay for this actually
The scam.
I can't even explain it. It's like,
can't
you know
even
what?
explain it.
It's like
KP.
it's like on blank check. It's like, you know what? We're going to build a rail system, but you know what? We need on blank check. And at the end of the day, who's going to suffer is the general population. So I say with this real nonsense on the failed rail is to turn the failed rail system into a green rail where people can actually run, walk safely above the highway without getting run over. If you look at Oahu, you see just every other day, some kupuna is getting run over, in the crosswalk. So they should stop with this, continued failed rail attempt and turn it to a green rail where people actually can walk or run or jog, whatever, safely. So I give the Star Advertiser to have their own personal spin on the fail rail, and also the fake state of Hawaii a smash.
Cornerstone laying it out so simply. We couldn't expect anything less than a possible $100 million shortfall in a span of less than 24 hours as young brother successfully tries to extort the county, the state of Hawaii.
Yeah.
The rail identifies the fraud, or not the fraud, but identifies the nipple, and then they are short $100 million.
Right.
So you see, Kako, there's a pattern, and we're here to help you guys to identify this pattern, because when this 1.x amount billion came about, Aina Aloha comes about. You have the rail all of a sudden shortage of 100 million. You have Inouye guys giving young brothers a multi-billion. These are multi-billions. Rail is a multi-billion dollar project. Young brothers are a multi-billion dollar project.
Where's the FBI investigation on the rail project? I haven't heard anything. I know it was initiated because of fraud. Where's that? And they're asking for 100 million. That's egregious.
So they failed to report this when the when the government audited them, and they said, oh, they had the money.
Right.
They have the money. They have this. They have that. But then now we can foresee this until everybody, because right now, okay, Kako, let's do a quick round around. Rail project short 100 million. Inouye wants the 25 million. The question mark is what other nonprofits or Hawaiian government agencies are going to ask for. The total number is 1 point something billion. So if you keep track of the numbers, we're going to see every week drastically some multi-billion dollar corporation or company will come forward to try and claim those monies.
Right.
And just sit back, Kako, and watch them go for the nipple, because you're going to see all these crisis actors come out in all different forms and shapes and sizes, non-profit, for-profit, they will be here. And that's why we must continue to smash when the rail project has exceeded the numbers that they put forward, and they continue to mislead the population with this organized crime. And I said it, yes, politicians are organized crime. They have continued together to conspire, working less than half a year to make sure our counties, our states are running within the whole year of a half year work. To me, they're incompetent. They need to be overhauled, let alone we need justice to prevail, and we need Hawaiians to lead Hawaiians out. Not government officials and not government employees. Mahalo. Next up, DJ Derbs. Last up is a must report, and we have reported on a couple of these issues throughout our 29 episodes, and this one has to occur again. We have a mass amount, a national state of emergency for our families and our kikis. DJ Derbs.
Mahalo Operation Keiki Shield
Ayo.
in Maui for getting the 10 men in the child sex solicitation sting. But Hawaii Island is losing our Hawaiian keiki
At
every
an astronomical.
week, at an astronomical
Yes.
rate.
Almost
And
daily.
We need
Daily.
to end this stealing of our keiki that
Human
they
trafficking.
say human trafficking is just saying they're just going missing. You can't go missing on an island. The island is too small. You just don't simply go missing. There's organized criminal action stealing our Hawaiian keiki every single week, kako. So keep your eyes out. Keep your keiki safe. Watch out for Home Depot, the movie theaters, the shopping malls,
Yes.
Target, because these are the venues and others that our Hawaiian keiki is getting kidnapped and stolen, kako.
Yeah.
So I just gotta give the police department a pass for solving
Kiki.
Operation Keiki Shield, and we need more Operation Keiki Shields to continue until the kidnapping of our Hawaiian keiki immediately ceases, kako. So pass for the police department on this one, Operation Keiki.
Cornerstone.
Operation Keiki's
Yeah.
shield is very good. See, because these people, they have one sickness. Okay, they have the sickness is to actually take our keiki, our resources, our future, and take them for their own personal agenda. And now you always have to watch your keiki. It's not like the days of you drop them off. You drop them off. Okay, I'll pick you up after the movie pal, or after you play football, or after you play at the park. These days are over.
Yeah.
We need to actually safeguard our keikis, because our keikis, they're the future. They're our future. And I just want to give a hats off to the police to actually their initiative to actually have a program and to actually take all these sick people off the street. So I give the police officers a pass.
Yes. Cornerstone. We did a topic about this earlier in a few episodes, but DJ Derbs and a few other nationals were still in at the University of Heva, Hilo, and we were fortunate enough to sit down on International Women's Protections Day, and Tulsi Gabbard was one of the guest speakers that came out, and it was a really close meeting. But basically, long story short, is they were already pinpointing the mass international human trafficking that critically affects natives in those population, because they are the ones more susceptible to abuse, drugs, and so forth. What they want to continue to label us as our weak points of getting abducted, and that is why we are reporting this again, because there were many Officer Kaliloa is one of them. That was when him and the individual who was in a stolen car, one of the girls that was missing, led into a shootout out in Ka'u. Having questioned that individual in the girl's car that they were driving, she was missing. So these children and these keikis have been going missing for quite some time. And they, in the University of Hawaii at Hilo meeting, were explaining that it has to come in from an in-source, which would be the police department and other enforcements, because there were plenty of positive informations to receive, but most of them were leading back to corruption of police officers and higher officials. So once again, mahalo to Operation Keiki Shield, because we on Moko Keawe, we have been going through a mass child abductions, and ours have been happening on Hawaiian homelands, next to our movie theaters, next to Walmart, next to Target. Oh yeah, they're targeting Hawaiian homesteads, and you have Bill Amalaya and all of these other people who know about it, and it's happening on their property. I don't see DHHL enforcement on those commercial properties, making sure our kids not being stolen. They're too busy evicting people who already got awarded on land.
Right. Yeah.
And so keep your guys' eyes out, Kako. Maui has been excellent. Maui deserves more than a pass from us. They need our support, Kako. And Big Island, Moko Keawe, we need your support too. Because when our family members or our keikis or your keikis are getting abducted, we want to get them recovered. Just like how they have the Amber Alert out in America. Why can't Ige guys have a keiki alert?
Yes.
Why can't we have a keiki alert? We should be able to have this keiki alert that is due process for everywhere around the world. As soon as a child is missing, the Amber Alert instantly hits your phone line. And why is it so hard for our keiki alert to even be installed, Kako?
Yes. So, if you look at the situation in the Hawaiian Islands, and you look at the stats about human trafficking, it's almost 80% part Hawaiians.
It is.
It's being abducted.
It is. The Tulsi Gabbard reports that Native Hawaiian women are the highest.
Right.
Are the highest next to other Pacific Islander cousins.
Right. So this should be on high priority.
Yeah. Yes. This has to be.
Yes.
I petition, we ask, we urge Governor Ige or Colonizer Ige, Harry, Rati and Spicy Kimchi, put together our keiki alert. Spend some of that monies, 100 or 1.8,
right.
1 point something billion,
yeah,
and invest it in our Aina, our Ohanas, and our keikis at most. Go for our keikis and get these kind of keiki alerts held up, because I know Maui is doing their best because they keep on appearing on our news feed. Moko Keawe, I cannot say the same.
Yeah. But you see, with all this money that they have, they can actually create a special task force for human trafficking in the Hawaiian Islands.
Yes.
That money would be well spent.
Yes. Thank you, KP, Cornerstone. And there you have it for your smash or pass for May 20th, 2020 episode Aloha Aina Oiaio Hawaiian Kingdom News. Before wrapping it up, we have our constitutional oath breakers to go to. DJ Derbs, your constitutional oath breaker for this week. Shiny old plaque goes to who?
My constitutional oath maker for this week is representative from Minneapolis declaring racism as a public emergency. Racism is the disease that causes many people to discriminate, to attack, to murder, to force into inhumane living conditions. So my constitutional oath breaker this week is racism
Yes.
And we need to root that out of America. We need to root that out of the Hawaiian Kingdom so we can be peaceful and live free and happy again.
Constitutional oath breaker, KP.
Constitutional oath breaker. We'll go to the fake state for actually having a so-called open blank check for the fail rail, and other shenanigans like monies for enforcement on the peaceful protesters up on the Mauna, and just spending the money, not wise. And at the end of the day, is the public is the one who suffers. So, the constitutional oath breaker is the fake state of Hawaii.
There you go. The constitutional oath breaker for this week, I gotta side with the continuous extortion of the 1.x amount of billions that the state is continuing to neglect their fiduciary duties to make sure that the heirs continue to live and thrive in Ko'awai Pai Aina. So there you guys have it, Kako, for your constitutional oath breakers of the week. And now for your rapid aloha. And once again, before I get this started, my aloha and my love goes out to the Pakele Ohana out there who has lost a loved one, a very special person, to Moko Keave and to the community that he was raised and brought a championship to. And we also want to send love out to Uncle Willie K.
Yes.
And their Ohana in these dire times that, we just send our deepest condolence to the families out there who have lost any loved ones during this pandemic, whether they were a celebrity or not. All lives matter, and we just send our love to those who have lost their loved ones. Rapid aloha.
Yeah. I mean, when we lose a Kanaka, it's really sad. But we need to actually remember their legacy, who they were, and to continue their legacy. And with that, I would like to also give a shout out to Kanaka Kava, our sponsor. They're located in Hilos on today, Saturday, across the Walmart service station. I believe 10:30. Or if you need to buy any products, you can contact them on Facebook or Instagram. Kanaka Kava.
DJ Derbs.
I don't know how many times my na'au, my spirit, has been lifted by these two great Hawaiian musicians. Uncle Willie K. Mahalo for your years and decades of commitment and dedication to lift up the spirits of everyone that you see.
Yeah.
What a great man, great person. Comparison, his beautiful voice and his aloha just pours out of every single song. So does Kaulana Pakele from Mana'o Company, from their first beginnings all the way till just recently. We just gotta recognize and honor these greats in our lifetime that gave so much of their lives to the Hawaiian Kingdom and all peoples in Hawaii. That's my rapid aloha to those two great men.
And before we leave, the Makahanaka Ike for this week, KP, for our Lahui, any Makahana Ike that they need to see, watch, or follow up on?
I would say just to read history, the true history of the Hawaiian Kingdom, and also really understand our status as a occupied state. So there's a lot of books out there. Go and read, on the political side, but also be balanced and know your culture side.
Yo, DJ Derbs, the homework for this week, Kumu.
127 years of injustice. So when you go to the Kamehameha statue today at 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon to support George Floyd.
Yes,
and
yes,
400
yes, yes,
years
yes.
of racism, discrimination, slavery on our brothers out there. Don't forget our 127 years of injustice here. We support, they support, we support each other. Minorities will overcome this disease of racism and inequality and inhumane treatment that's been happening for centuries, kako. So go out there, put out your signs, and support one another. Don't criticize one another. It is what it is. How long do we have to wait for justice? Yeah, let's see what Kapu Aloha does, because
Right.
they're still going after TMT and COVID-19.
Yes.
Kako.
Right.
Let's see if Kapu Aloha stays the same. But I think it transitioned to Aina Aloha from what I see. So that's my makahana ka'ike. Support George Floyd. Support our brothers and sisters. Plight for justice from centuries of injustice.
Yes. Oh, makahana ka'ike. On this rainy day, just like Cornerstone said, go home, get your moku auhau, right? And get your opus full with some sweet uwala, some kalo, and start digesting your moku auhau.
Right.
Makahana ka'ike. Until you can repeat and sing your verse, which is your verse, your moku auhau. I advise you to get cozy today in your rainy day and go read your moku auhau. Talk to your loved ones. Talk to your grandma. Talk to your grandpa. You don't know how long everybody has. Cherish them. Turn off the TV. Hold a good game of hanafuda or pipitu or whatever have you, konane, and share these stories. Talk about your moku auhau this week. Makahana ka'ike. Thank you guys all for showing up and allowing us to expose the dark side of Hawaiian politics, the national crisis.
Well, this is our 29th episode, and next week's going to be our 30th. So it's going to be a really special episode. So stay tuned until next week, Saturday. Aloha.
It's going to be, like KP said, it's going to be a special episode. We've been preparing for 2 weeks for this next episode to expand your mind.
Yes.
Yes,
So
yes,
stay
yes, yes.
tuned for next week, 7 a.m. on the La Po'a Ono Kako. Aloha, be safe in the kingdom.
As we Molokai slide out to Brada Kaulana Pakele. Molokai slide. Nahoku award winning.
Super.
Feeling of you on this paradise. All I like to do, island gecko. Man, this is where I wanna be. So take me back, back to the kind. Take me back, back to the kind. All over Mobed or Molokai, I will return. Take me back, back to the kind. Take me back, back to the kind. All over Mombed or Molokai, I will return. I like the gecko singing in the night. I like to do the dance they do to the Molokai slide when the sun come up shining. Always more better the kind. I like the hula. I think it's really good. Oh man, I don't understand the words, but in time I think I could if I just had the time. Oh, if I just had the time. I said, oh, won't you come along? We'll have a luau by the sea. We'll cook a little pig and all the coconuts are free. And what you see is what you get. It's just a little grass shack. I know you're gonna like it, and I hope you come back. I like the fishes swimming around in the sea. I like to hop them on the grill and cook them up for me with a big pan of butter. Man, it can't get better than this. No, no, no.